The most important lesson dogs teach us about life, all right. Let's start with a question that might seem simple on the surface, but is actually one of the most profound questions you can ask yourself. What does it mean to live a good life? We all search for the answer to this, whether we're conscious of it or not. Some of us think it's about success, others believe it's about happiness, and still others might argue it's about leaving a legacy. But here's something that I think we often overlook, and it's something that dogs seem to understand better than most humans. A good life is about love. Now, before you roll your eyes and think, oh, here we go with the cliché, let's break this down. I'm not talking about the romanticized Hollywood version of love. I'm talking about the kind of love that is unconditional, simple, and pure, the kind of love that isn't transactional, and who embodies that better than dogs. Imagine this: every time you come home, no matter how bad your day was, no matter how long you were gone, your dog is there, tail wagging, utterly thrilled to see you. They don't care if you're rich or poor, successful or struggling. They don't care if you've made mistakes or if you're not the person you want to be yet. They just love you exactly as you are in this moment. What would it mean to live like that? To love people not for what they can give you or for how they make you feel, but simply for who they are, unconditionally. That's the lesson dogs teach us about life. They don't ask for much, just your presence, your time, and your affection. And in return, they give us everything: loyalty, joy, companionship, and a sense of being truly seen and accepted. Here's the kicker: most of us spend our lives chasing things that are far less important than love. We chase money, status, recognition, thinking that these things will bring us happiness. But do they? Sure, they might give us fleeting moments of satisfaction, but they don't fill the deeper need we all have for connection, for belonging, for love. Dogs, on the other hand, get this instinctively. They don't need any of the things we think we need. They're happy with the basics: food, shelter, and most importantly, a connection with their humans. So, here's the first deep question for you to think about: how much of what you're chasing in life is actually distracting you from what matters most? Dogs don't get distracted by the noise of the world. They're focused on the essentials. They teach us, through their simple existence, that love and connection are the foundation of a meaningful life.
Click subscribe to this channel to get more profound spiritual lesson.
And here's the thing: dogs live in the moment. They don't dwell on the past, and they certainly don't worry about the future. They are fully present, right here, right now. When a dog is with you, they're with you completely. Think about how rare that is in our lives, especially today. How often are we really present with the people we care about? How often are we fully engaged in the moment, without our minds wandering to the next task or the next goal? This brings us to another key lesson from dogs. Presence is one of the greatest gifts you can give, both to others and to yourself. When we're present, we're able to truly connect. We're able to see the beauty in the ordinary, to find joy in the simplest things like a walk outside or a quiet moment of rest. Dogs don't need grand experiences to be happy. They're content with what's in front of them, and they remind us that we can be too if we just learn to slow down and appreciate what we have. Let me ask you, when was the last time you were fully present in a moment? Not thinking about what you need to do next, not scrolling through your phone, but really there, engaged with the people around you, or just with yourself. It's harder than it sounds, right? But dogs do this effortlessly. They remind us that life isn't about the constant striving for more, it's about being fully alive to the moments we're in, no matter how small or seemingly insignificant. And here's another question: what if the key to a good life isn't about achieving more, but about experiencing more? Not in the sense of packing your schedule with activities, but in the sense of being more attuned to the experiences you're already having. Dogs are masters of this. They don't need to be entertained constantly. They can find joy in the simplest things: a familiar scent on the breeze, the sound of your voice, the warmth of your touch. So, what if we took a page out of their book? What if we learned to find joy in the small moments, to be fully present with the people we love, and to focus on what really matters instead of what the world tells us we should be chasing? In the end, the most important lesson dogs teach us about life is that love and presence are the true foundations of happiness. Everything else is secondary. We complicate our lives with so many distractions, but dogs show us every day that it's the simple things, the relationships, the moments of connection, the love we give and receive that make life worthwhile. The freedom of forgiveness, how dogs teach us to let go of the past. If we pick up where we left off, it becomes clear that dogs, in their simplicity, offer us a profound model for living. They don't complicate their lives with unnecessary distractions, and they don't get caught up in the endless pursuit of fleeting goals. Instead, they focus on what truly matters: love, connection, and being present. But there's another lesson dogs teach us that's equally important, perhaps even more important, when we think about how it applies to our everyday lives: forgiveness and letting go. Think about this for a second. Have you ever seen a dog hold a grudge? We've all made mistakes with our pets. Maybe you've accidentally stepped on your dog's paw, or maybe you've scolded them for something they didn't understand. But what happens after? Your dog doesn't sulk for days or give you the cold shoulder. A few moments later, they're right back to wagging their tail, eager to be by your side. This ability to forgive instantly, to let go of whatever just happened, is something that we humans struggle with mightily. We hold on to grudges, we replay arguments in our minds, and we let past hurts shape our present and future relationships. But dogs? They live in the moment, and part of living in the moment means not carrying the weight of the past. So here's a deep question for you: what would your life look like if you could let go as easily as a dog does? What if you didn't hold on to the pain, the anger, the resentment that so often weighs us down? Think about how much lighter you would feel, how much more energy you would have to focus on the things that truly matter. Dogs show us that forgiveness isn't just about the other person, it's about freeing ourselves from the burden of carrying negativity. Letting go doesn't mean forgetting or denying that something hurt you. It means choosing not to let that hurt define you. Dogs don't forget when they've been wronged or mistreated, but they also don't let it poison their present. They move forward because they understand, on some instinctive level, that life is too short to spend it holding on to negative emotions. Here's another aspect of this lesson: dogs don't overcomplicate forgiveness because they don't overthink it. As humans, we tend to get lost in our thoughts, replaying scenarios, justifying our anger, and coming up with reasons why we're right and someone else is wrong. But what does that accomplish? All it does is keep us trapped in a cycle of negativity. Dogs, by contrast, don't overanalyze. They feel, they react, and they move on. Their emotional intelligence tells them that holding on to anger or sadness won't change the past, so they let it go. But here's where it gets really interesting. Dogs don't just forgive us, they also forgive themselves. Have you ever seen a dog trip over its own feet or make a mistake? They don't sit there and wallow in embarrassment. They shake it off and continue with whatever they were doing. How often do we, as humans, beat ourselves up for our mistakes, long after anyone else has forgotten them? Dogs show us that self-compassion, being kind to ourselves when we stumble, is just as important as forgiving others. So, here's another question for you to ponder: what would change in your life if you could forgive yourself as easily as a dog forgives you? How much of your energy is being spent on self-criticism, on replaying your own failures or shortcomings? What if, instead, you could embrace your mistakes, learn from them, and move forward without carrying the weight of guilt or shame? Dogs teach us that life is much simpler and much happier when we let go of the things that don't serve us. Whether it's forgiving others or forgiving ourselves, the ability to release the past and focus on the present is a skill that can transform our lives. It's one of the most powerful lessons they offer, and it's a reminder that, in the end, we have the power to choose what we carry with us and what we leave behind. The power of forgiveness, how dogs teach us to let go and live free. Now that we've explored the idea of forgiveness and letting go, there's another aspect of a dog's wisdom that ties perfectly into this lesson: loyalty and trust. Dogs have an incredible, almost magical ability to trust deeply and remain loyal, even in a world that can be unpredictable and, at times, unfair. This loyalty isn't just an instinct, it's a profound, conscious choice that dogs make every day. And it's something we can learn from in a world where trust and loyalty often feel fragile or conditional. Think about it: dogs trust us completely, even though they know we're not perfect. We may have let them down before, scolded them, or not always been the best caretakers, but they continue to trust us without hesitation. They greet us with excitement, even after we've been away for hours or days. They follow us with unwavering loyalty, no matter what. Here's the deep question: what would our relationships look like if we could trust and be loyal in the same way dogs do? Not blindly, of course, but with a full understanding that trust isn't about expecting perfection. It's about choosing to believe in someone's goodness despite their flaws. Dogs seem to understand this intuitively. They don't expect us to be perfect, they just want to be by our side, to share in our lives, and to give us their loyalty. But trust, for them, is not just a passive state, it's an active expression of love. When a dog trusts you, they relax into the relationship. They don't question your intentions. They don't second-guess themselves or wonder if they're worthy of your love. They just trust. What if we could live like that? In human relationships, we often guard ourselves. We hold back, afraid of being hurt, afraid of being vulnerable. But dogs remind us that trust is a gift we can give, and it's a gift that enriches both the giver and the receiver. When you trust someone, you're saying, "I believe in you. I believe that, even if things aren't perfect, you are worth my loyalty." Here's something else to consider: dogs trust us, even though they don't always understand what we're doing. Think about when you take your dog to the vet. They don't know why you're making them go through something uncomfortable, but they trust you anyway. They trust that, even when things are tough, you have their best interests at heart. What if we could apply this wisdom to the uncertainties we face in our own lives? What if we could trust that, even when we don't fully understand what's happening, things might still be working out for our benefit? Dogs teach us that sometimes trust means letting go of the need for control. It means believing that, even if we can't see the entire picture, there's something good on the other side of the struggle. And loyalty. Loyalty is the glue that holds trust together in the long term. It's not just about being there when things are easy or convenient. It's about showing up, day in and day out, through the ups and downs. Dogs are loyal to us even when we make mistakes. They don't hold grudges or keep score. They simply choose to stay by our side because that's the kind of creature they are. So, let me ask you this: what does loyalty look like in your life? Are you loyal to the people who matter to you, not just when things are going well, but when they're struggling, when they're imperfect? Are you loyal to your own values and beliefs, even when it's hard? Dogs teach us that loyalty isn't about convenience, it's about commitment. It's about saying, I'm here for you, no matter what. In a world that often feels transactional, where relationships can sometimes feel fragile or conditional, dogs remind us that true loyalty is about showing up again and again without expecting anything in return. And when we embrace that kind of loyalty and trust, we not only strengthen our relationships, but we also find a deeper sense of peace within ourselves because we've chosen to live with integrity, just as dogs do. Living with purpose, how dogs teach us to focus on what truly matters. As we near the end of this journey through the wisdom that dogs offer, let's focus on one final lesson: living with purpose. Dogs, in their simplicity, seem to have an innate understanding of what matters most in life. They don't get caught up in the noise, the distractions, or the trivial concerns that often consume us. Instead, they live with a clear purpose: to love, to be present, and to enjoy the moments they have. What if we lived with that same clarity of purpose? So often we complicate our lives by chasing things that don't truly fulfill us: money, status, external validation. We get caught in the whirlwind of comparison, always looking for the next achievement, the next milestone, the next thing that will make us happy. But dogs remind us that life's purpose isn't found in these external pursuits. It's found in the relationships we build, the love we give, and the moments we share. Here's a profound question for you: what would change if you stripped away all the distractions and focused only on what truly matters to you? Dogs don't waste time on things that don't align with their purpose. They don't worry about the past or stress about the future. They focus on the here and now, on the people they love, on the joy of a simple walk, or the comfort of lying in the sun. Living with purpose doesn't mean you ignore your responsibilities or stop striving for growth. It means you align your actions with what you truly value. Dogs teach us that purpose is not some grand, elusive thing. It's in the day-to-day choices we make. It's in how we treat others, how we spend our time, and where we place our attention. At the end of the day, dogs show us that a life well lived is one where love, presence, forgiveness, loyalty, and purpose converge. They live these values naturally, without complication, and it's in this simplicity that they show us the most important lesson of all: that life, at its core, is about connecting deeply with the people and experiences around us. So, as we wrap up this reflection, I leave you with this final question: what simple, purposeful changes can you make today to live more like the dogs we admire? The answer might be simpler than you think.